Okay, so if you can remember the anaerobic respiration, we discussed two processes. One is the anaerobic respiration in yeast cells or plant cells, another one is the anaerobic respiration in animal cells. So anaerobic respiration, it is a process which makes energy using a substrate but without oxygen. In that case, the amount of ATP produced is very minimal. For example, as we select the substrate as glucose, so at aerobic respiration, normally it produces 32 ATP molecules. But in anaerobic respiration, per glucose molecule, it only makes 2 ATP molecules. Other thing is, when we consider the common processes of both aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration, the glycolysis is the common metabolic pathway for both reactions, because glycolysis does not need oxygen for its process. So the glycolysis process occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. In aerobic respiration also, the first step is glycolysis. In anaerobic respiration, the first step is the glycolysis. From glycolysis to ATP, the yield of ATP is 2. 2 ATP molecules produced because of the substrate phosphorylation. That happens in the aerobic respiration as well as in the anaerobic respiration. So in anaerobic respiration, that is the only ATP generated during the process. Afterwards, no ATP is generated. Therefore, most of the energy remaining in the further molecules produced after anaerobic respiration. So when we consider the anaerobic respiration in animal cells, so when we take the substrate glucose, then it generates 2 pyruvate, and from that it generates 2 ATP molecules and it generates 2 reduced NAD molecules. So that is the result of glycolysis. So after that, what happened here? As I said, this NADH is very unstable. It always tries to oxidize to become stable. When it oxidized, it will remove the energized protons and electrons, especially the H+. So there should be another molecule in the medium to accept these protons and electrons. So otherwise, they will not leave alone in the medium. Medium is the cytoplasm. What is the molecule available in the cytoplasm to donate this H+ and electrons? The only molecule available is in the cytoplasm now is pyruvate. Therefore, when the NADH is oxidized, the released electrons and protons are now accepted by this pyruvate. Then pyruvate converts into lactate. So that is the final product of anaerobic respiration in animal cells. What are the results then? 2 ATP and 2 lactate, or it also named as lactic acid. When the lactic acid is formed in the muscles, they get cramped because this lactic acid forms when the oxygen is not available, because that is anaerobic respiration pathway. When the oxygen is not there, this pathway is initiated and finally generates lactic acid. But when the lactic acid is formed among the human muscles, so that will be a problem, because the lactic acid produced among the muscle cells and it makes some problems. So then what we should do, if we can provide enough oxygen to the area, so then at the presence of oxygen, this lactic acid will degrade. The better option is so when we provide oxygen, then lactic acid slowly degraded. Oxygen we needed to remove the lactic acid amount present in the animal cell is called the oxygen debt. Yeast cells, plant and fungi, example, they have somewhat different pathway, metabolic pathway compared to animal cell. The same, the glycolysis will happen in the cytoplasm. So the substrate, the common substrate is glucose. Here it makes pyruvate and it releases 2 ATP and 2 reduced NAD. This is the only place where the ATP generates. That is because of substrate phosphorylation. And then internally, now oxygen is not in the medium. Internally, the bonds get break and pyruvate becomes a molecule called ethanol. When pyruvate converts into ethanol, it removes carbon. Carbon is removed as carbon dioxide. Remember, this carbon dioxide is remove here, not using oxygen. Because of the internal breakdown, internal reaction, this carbon dioxide is released. So I said that earlier, this NADH or the reduced NAD is unstable. It always tries to become stable. The ethanol is the only molecule in the medium to accept the electrons and protons released by this reduced NAD when it is oxidized. When it oxidized, what happens? It releases H+, and that is accepted by ethanol. Then that ethanol converts into a molecule called ethanol. This is what happens during the ethanol production. Commercially also is mixed with sugar solution and we can make ethanol. After distillation process, ethanol can be separated. Here I didn't mention the total pathway of this glycolysis. You know that glycolysis, the glucose turns into fructose 6-phosphate, then fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, then the triose phosphate, then the intermediates, okay, and then the pyruvate. That is the normal process. Remember, this entire process occurs in the cytoplasm. Mitochondria is not involved for anaerobic because oxygen is not available now. I think now you have a clear idea about this anaerobic respiration.